Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the newest edition of Walter's World. My name is Walter Sweat. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Astadia. And today I am honored and really pleased to be joined by Paul Ikin, who's the Global Partner Engagement Manager for Mainframe Modernization at Google. Paul, welcome.
Thank you, Walter. Glad to be here.
We're delighted to have you. So, Paul, can you kind of describe what your focus and your role is at Google?
Yeah, sure. I'm as Global Partner Engagement Manager. Just as the name implies, I'm responsible for partner strategy around mainframe modernization within Google. Working with our partners, onboarding new partners, and ensuring that our customers are getting the highest quality of service out of our partners.
That's perfect. Thank you. And you actually have a mainframe background as well, don't you?
Yeah. Actually, it's cut my teeth in mainframes. Many years ago with IBM. Helping customers get onto mainframes, and then probably spent the last 10 or 15 years helping customers get off those mainframes. So,
Isn't it funny the way that works? And who would have believed when we all first got started that we would be where we are today, where people are looking at, using something like the cloud, which of course wasn't even dreamed of back then,
mhm.
alternative for the mainframe. Fascinating times.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Paul, I've got to ask, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of the people in the audience are, they're curious about the same thing. When they think about Google, since when does Google have an interest in mainframes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think ever since Google became a cloud company, I think they've had an interest in taking on those mainframe workloads into the cloud. But up until probably the middle of last year, there was no clear strategy on exactly how to do that. And when Google Cloud President Thomas Kurian joined us from many years at Oracle, that was really one of the focus growth areas that that he wanted us to build out a viable solution for our customers to help enable them do that. So my boss Howard Weil joined Google probably around August last year, and he and I had worked together before, and he brought me in to the company, and we started growing the practice from that.
Well, I just know reading all of the news and the articles that are out there about all that you're doing at Google, obviously you're taking it very seriously and trying to make sure that you provide solutions to the mainframe market in ways that no one ever could have believed before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really been a roller coaster ride for us. Really exciting times to be in Google Cloud. This hit us harder than we were ever expecting, to be honest. And there's such a pent up demand for this this type of offering, and we took it very seriously. And one of the first things we did as a organization, as a solution within Google Cloud, was went off and acquired Cornerstone Technologies to help enable that.
Yeah, that was a really exciting acquisition for y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just made really good sense for us as a as a professional services organization to bring in a company that's been doing this for the past 25 plus years, and have done countless application conversions from legacy code to more modern languages like Java and so on, and it just brought on a wealth of experience that we couldn't have hoped for a better outcome.
A great deal. So, Paul, what do you see as the primary motivators when you talk to people when they're considering not only the cloud, but especially the Google Cloud?
Yeah, I think there's there's a number of things that that I mean I talk to customers every single day of my life, and there's a lot of different motivators for organizations to start looking at migrating their mainframe workloads onto GCP. But I think one of the key motivators that I've seen is obviously around the cost and maintenance of the mainframe environment. As we know, that the cost of hardware is just one aspect. There's um, the skills and expertise to maintain that environment. They're definitely in shortage. There's also the ISV costs associated with the mainframe
Hmm.
environment, and you know, it, the scalability of a mainframe and the security of a mainframe is unquestionable, in my opinion. As I said, I sold it for many years, and anybody that knows mainframe knows that it's a phenomenal platform. But when you take all of these other external factors into consideration, it makes a lot of sense to get off that platform and onto a scalable environment like GCP.
Absolutely. Yeah, we here at Astadia, we are all a bunch of old mainframe folks. I think
Right.
our average person averages like 26 or 27 years of mainframe experience, and it is a fantastic platform. But man, the things you can do leveraging something like GCP beyond what you can do just makes it exciting, I think.
Absolutely, and I mean, one of the really cool things about going cloud native, out of the mainframe environment is that you can really you can really take advantage of some of these phenomenal tools that we have available on GCP. Things like Anthos and and AI and
Yes.
BigQuery, for example. I mean, these are just phenomenal tools, that make an organization's ability to respond to the dynamics of of modern business just so much easier.
I think that is such an important key that it opens up the way you can do business and be more competitive. I always liken it to being able to turn that ship a lot quicker. And in today's market, that's ever so important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So talking about, mainframe growth, what's it been like for Google in terms of people wanting to evaluate GCP and to, really consider going that? Are you finding that that's an upward tick that's growing faster and faster?
Yeah. I mean, I can't state that enough. I mean, um, the amount of demand that is coming our way, is has really just been off the charts. I don't think a day goes by where I'm not talking to some new customer about potentially getting off the mainframe. I mean, we couldn't have hoped for a better outcome. We know that there's probably about 8,000 organizations in the world that that still use mainframes. I mean, we all know, what a great data repository the mainframe environment is, but yeah, that I think customers are coming to realize that it's really hard to manipulate and use that data to their advantage. And I mean, definitely the way that Google Cloud and GCP enables that environment. It's really been a huge eye opener for us, and we've really had to scale a lot quicker than we were expecting.
I bet you can't even remember the last boring day that you had.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So one
We
of the
make
things
some long days,
I
but
thought,
it's
sure. One of the things that I always am fascinated by, coming from a mainframe background and talking to mainframe customers all the time, is how cloud savvy do you find most of the mainframe customers that you talk to be? How much do they know about the cloud coming in?
Yeah, I think ultimately, Walter, it's kind of a mixed bag, and it also depends, where you're having the conversation starters, with any particular customer. But as I mentioned earlier, but people that know the mainframe love the mainframe, and if we start our conversation at that side, it just makes it just makes the transition to cloud that much harder. But if you start in a conversation at the C level and you're talking to a CTO or a CIO or a COO or even a CFO, they're going to see the value of moving to the cloud, and most likely have at least one foot in the cloud right now. And I think that the sell becomes a whole lot easier when when you're having that level of conversation, because those people really know and understand the cloud and the value that the cloud brings, and the scalability that the cloud brings. So we like I said, it largely depends on where I'm having the conversations within the customer.
That certainly makes sense. So here's a question. This is one I've always found interesting. Cost or agility? Which do you find people are more interested in talking about and understanding how they can benefit from being in GCP?
Quite honestly, I've never had a customer ask me upfront what the cost is going to be. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but every single one of the customer conversations I've had has talked about, tell me about the value. What's agility? What's the security? What's the scalability like? How is my business going to benefit from moving to this? None of them have said, okay, tell me what the cost is. It's obviously that comes down the road, but it's certainly not where the early conversations are. It's all about agility and and value that it's going to bring the organization.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And you talked about agility and the benefits of being in the cloud. Do most of the companies you talk to, do they just want to get to the cloud and stay there? Or are they more looking to say, what can I do after I get there?
Yeah, it's in my opinion, there's of course, there's a lot of companies now that want to exit the data center. They don't see value of setting up their or rather maintaining a heavy cost IT organization. They see the value in somebody other than their own organization. Going through those sleepless nights of ensuring that the security is there, that the scalability is there, that the performance is there, and the reliability is there. I mean, more and more, we're having conversations about customers getting completely getting out of the data center business.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because not only do they not want to maintain their own environments and so on, but they also don't want to have 100 COBOL developers sitting in the back office there waiting to update code or do modifications to code or maintain code, things like that. That just doesn't that's just not where they want to be spending their money and their time.
Yeah, being able to focus on the things that make the biggest difference to their business. It certainly makes sense to say, I don't want to be focused on running a data center when I can focus on something else instead.
Absolutely.
Paul, do you encounter customers who are interested in only moving portions of their mainframe? They're going to leave some things on the mainframe but move other parts off? Or is it more of a big bang where they're just going to flip the switch and turn the mainframe off?
So that's a very good question, Walter, because I think it largely depends on on the organization themselves and how business critical and core to their business they consider their mainframes. So what I see in particularly in financial services companies, that they are a lot more reluctant, if that's the right word, to say, okay, my strategic direction is to be completely off the mainframe in the next 5 years. That's probably less likely to happen in some kind of financial services organization. Excuse me. So what we see, and often what we recommend as part of our assessment process, is that let's look for the low hanging fruit. If they a little bit more reluctant about doing code conversion and going cloud native, we say, okay, well, let's look for the low hanging fruit. So maybe standalone applications that we can easily convert to Java and redeploy natively on GCP. Let's target those. Then for the applications that they're more concerned about, maybe just leave them where they are, at least for the moment anyway, until we prove out the capabilities of code conversion. Some customers say to us as well, let's particularly some of the smaller customers, because it's a lot easier given the size of the footprint. But some of them say to us, okay, no matter what, I want to be off the mainframe hardware, but I'm not necessarily sold on going cloud native yet. For that, obviously we have the emulation solutions, like Micro Focus and others, which are all phenomenal solutions and definitely have a place in in any kind of mainframe modernization journey. So, and then the final kind of use case that that I use as well is that there are often customers that don't have access to all of their source code, and
Right.
in order for code conversion to work, obviously you need the source code, and quite frankly, for the Micro Focus emulation solution as well, you also need access to the source code. But there's an alternative solution to that as well with one of our partners that doesn't require recompilation of the code. So if the customer's got no interest in rewriting that application, then we can also rehost that particular application through this other solution.
That's wonderful to have alternatives. We always say that there are no two mainframe environments that are exactly the same, nor is the ultimate landing platform going to be the same for everyone. So being able to provide alternatives and understand people's pain points in their situations, obviously very important.
Absolutely. And I always say when I'm having these conversations with my customers, I always tell them the same thing every single time. There's no silver bullet to mainframe modernization. There's not one size fits all. We have to come in with a full kit bag, and really take a thorough analysis of the environment, to make a qualified recommendation on what to do. Any company that comes in and says, yes, this is the right solution, whether it's solution A or B, I've got less confidence in that approach.
Makes sense. So, Paul, one of the things that I find interesting, given that we're both sitting in our home offices right now, we're not sitting together in the office, with COVID-19, how has that affected people's interest in being able to consider moving from the mainframe or wanting to do that?
So, we've seen a dramatic uptick in the number of opportunities that that we've encountered since since shelter in place came around with COVID-19. my workload has gone up exponentially since then, and I think it's down to the fact that customers are realizing that you know the the way that their data centers and the IT organizations are set up now is not a long-term sustainable solution.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, rather make your compute power somebody else's problem. There's mega organizations like Google, that have access to resources that most companies just don't have access to. And I think that the whole COVID thing, working at home, the huge pressure that's been put on the internet and and corporate networks, etc., has really been an eye opener for a lot of companies. And we've seen companies that were probably not even real players prior to COVID-19 that have just stepped up to the plate and really made a name for themselves. And hats off to all of them.
Indeed, indeed. It's funny with us, we were kind of shocked, like a lot of organizations. We at Astadia didn't know what to expect when COVID-19 hit. And early on, it really was the case where people were just retrenching and saying, we're not going to do anything. 3-4 weeks later, the phone started ringing off the hook, and it has just been phenomenal, the number of people who are saying, I've got to find a way to do something different.
Absolutely. And it's not only about saving money, it's about improving reliability as well. In the infrastructure. The ability to respond quicker to ever-changing demands and needs coming from the consumers. It's there's many factors, and that I think is really driving the move off the mainframe to cloud.
Yeah, I think the stories that we all read about all the various states with their systems that weren't able to adjust to the increased load for unemployment. It's a prime example of people needed to find different ways to do things.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
One of the things, was the aging workforce. There weren't enough COBOL programmers. We heard of them talking about almost recruiting out of nursing homes, but they were begging people to come back in and start to work on it. So what about that aging workforce? Is that something that you hear as well? Not just the programmers, but the system programmers, and if you're in the Unisys world, trying to find those. Do you hear people saying that that's a real concern for them now?
Absolutely. Yeah, we hear it all the time. I've seen multiple requirements coming out of companies where they say, I've got 20 COBOL developers, and I've got 5 system programmers, and over the next 5 years, all of them are at retirement age and wanting to leave. What can you do to help? And for us, that's I mean, obviously that's a huge motivational factor for companies, because it wasn't so long ago, maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago, that I believe it was the governor of New Jersey that put out a press release, trying to entice retired COBOL developers to
exactly
back to work. And whoa, that's a serious problem, because these people, there's, I don't know of any COBOL developers graduating out of college right now. It's just a skill not being replaced.
That is correct. Absolutely. So one of the things that I think everybody's always interested in, you mentioned it before, we both come from a mainframe background, and we believe in the mainframe, and it's a fantastic environment. Mm-hmm. Can you honestly get as good a performance running in the cloud as you can on the mainframe?
So that that question gets asked really early on when I'm having these discussions with customers, because as you said, performance on the mainframe, scalability on the mainframe, security on the mainframe. I mean, they're all unquestionable. And so when we're doing code conversion projects, using our cornerstone G4 technology, we always aim for one-for-one performance between the applications, and we've been known to stop projects dead in their tracks, and and go in and do some performance tuning on the tools to ensure that customers are seeing the one-for-one at least performance rate, because nobody's going to do a mainframe code conversion to Java if they're only going to get 80% of their performance.
Right.
They're going to say, I mean, I'm going to lose customers. I'm going to I'm going to have team members that are going to go on strike if if we're losing that kind of performance degradation. So so we always aim for one-for-one. In some cases we've seen better. In other cases, maybe marginally worse, but it's not hardly measurable. And it really depends on code quality, how old the code is. I mean, you may be converting code that's 40 years old, that's probably had 100 plus developers working on over the years, or there could be some code written just 5 years ago, and obviously you aren't going to see the same performance out of those two applications. But there's a lot of ways to mitigate that performance degradation, and certainly reach that target of one-for-one.
Makes sense. We here at Astadia too feel that with the number of tools and the types of tools that are available beyond what you can have on the mainframe, it really does open up what you can do to ensure performance. And our thought is always, if you attack building the cloud environment with the same intensity and security and focus as you do on the mainframe, we've seen customers absolutely get as good a performance. So I'm glad to hear that you feel the same.
Absolutely.
So Paul, one of the things I hope out of this is that people found this to be helpful and interesting. If people have further questions and they wanted to reach out, how could they learn more about what Google and GCP offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, and I believe we'll put up a slide here shortly, but we have a catch-all Google mainframe email address that will come to myself and a couple of my colleagues, and one of us will get back to you with any questions, or if you want to discuss any of your requirements. So feel free to reach out to us at that email address on the screen right now.
Fantastic. And likewise for Astadia, if any of the people who are attending have questions to see how we can help you in your cloud journey, we would be delighted to talk to you. So Paul, I think we're at the end of our time. I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time to spend with me today. This was a great session. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you, and looking forward to us doing a lot of projects together.
Yeah, likewise, Walter. Thank you. Really appreciate the Astadia team. You guys have become a really good partner for Google Cloud, and we certainly look forward to doing a lot of joint projects.
Indeed. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day, and please just join us on our next podcast. Thanks very much, everyone.